So I've been using Mac computers for almost 15 years. Since I was a sophomore in college. I know I'm really dating myself by saying that. I know I'm old. But back to what I was talking about. I've been using Macs for a long time. Pretty much since Final Cut 7 was like the gold standard in video editing. So that's why everybody used Macs back then, because Final Cut 7 was only available on Mac. But I've been doing a lot of thinking lately, and as I was frustratingly trying to edit a 4K video, decided it's time for a new computer, something with a little more horsepower. My MacBook Pro works great for 4K video editing. It's got a little bit more juice to it. It's a lot newer, but I want a dedicated home base editing workstation. And I decided I can build a PC for a fraction the price of what I'd pay for an equivalent iMac. And with the Adobe Suite these days and pretty much cross-platform everything, there's really no good reason other than liking the OS, which I do. I like Mac OS a lot. There's really no good reason to use one or the other. So I think I'm switching to PC, guys. Now don't get me wrong, still going to edit and work on my MacBook Pro. Love it. It's the best solution for me for mobile. But for my home base, I'm building a PC. So now that I've spilled the beans that I'm building a PC and retiring this iMac, this thing was a great machine. This is the first 5K iMac from late 2014, and it was great for photo editing and for HD video, but it just can't handle the video I'm trying to throw at it. So it's time to retire it and move on to this new build. So let me go through the parts I'm going to use for this build. First of all, I have two hard drives. These were hard drives that I've had from a previous computer. This is a 4 terabyte hard drive, and this is a 2 terabyte hard drive. These will serve as my storage pools for video and photos. In addition, I have a 250 gigabyte solid state drive that is going to be my OS drive and for the software. And to support that, I have a Corsair mounting bracket so that I can mount this 2.5-inch size drive into a 3.5-inch bay, which is the traditional size of a hard drive. I've got 320 millimeter case fans. These are green lit LEDs. I like green, so I went with green. For my processor, this is the brains of the operation. I went with a AMD Ryzen 7 2700X. The reason I went with this processor, I did a lot of research, and people seem to like the Ryzen platform for workstation and video editing type jobs. So this is an 8-core processor, and from what I understand, the research I've done, Premiere is mostly processor intensive. So the more cores you have, the more throughput you have for editing video. Now I'm starting with 16 gigs of memory. I know I'm going to want more than that, but the nice thing about these computers is you can upgrade as you go. So I will match this stick probably in a couple weeks or a couple months with another 16 gigs to have 32 total. And for anybody who works with computers and knows a little bit, memory, the more memory you have, the more you can do at once. It allows you to multitask better. So that's my plan going forward for that. Now for the graphics card, I went with a Asus GeForce GTX 1060, kind of middle of the road. Like I mentioned, Premiere is more processor intensive. The GPU graphics card is more used for effects and whatnot. I don't do a ton of effects in my videos. I may in the future, so this may be a bottleneck. We'll see going forward how it works for me, but from research I did, this seems like it's going to do what I need to do. I don't do a ton of gaming, so I didn't need the highest end graphics card I could get. Power supply, just a standard EVGA 600 watt. Should do the trick. And then for the motherboard, I went with the Asus ROG Strix B450F gaming board. This board is designed for gaming, but it's supposed to pair up really well with the processor I got and the other components that I'm working with. And then I don't have it up here, but I'm using an older case. I am using a, what is it? It is a Antec 300 case. So it's a little bit bigger case, something I've had from a previous build, and I figured it's a fine case. I like the way it looks, so there was no reason to go out and buy a new case just for this build. So that is my components in a nutshell. Like I said, I might add stuff in the future, but to get me off the ground and running, this is what I'm starting with. So I'm going to head over to my friend John's house because I feel like projects are more fun with friends. And he's, I'm pretty good at this stuff, but he's way better than I am. So we're going to go over to his house and have some fun. So let's go over there. So I've got all my gear packed up. Really, the only thing left to do is head over to John's. So let's go. Dude, oh, that was fast. I've made it to my friend John's house, and we're going to put this computer together. Would you say that if you do a little research, pretty much anyone can do one of these?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a couple years since I've done one, and like I said before, he knows about a lot more about this stuff than I do, and it's been a while for me, so we're going to get on this build and get it together. Finished building out the computer outside of its case so that we can test everything and not have to tear it all back out if something doesn't work. This is a good practice, just like I said, so you don't have to tear everything apart if something goes wrong. So everything tested out good with the board outside the computer case, and we just got the motherboard installed, put the power supply in, and now we're getting ready to hook up some fans and put the graphics card in. Does your beard help you build computers?
It does. It makes me 14% faster.
What John's doing now is some initial cable management, and what cable management does, one, it makes the build look prettier, but more importantly, it helps increase airflow to keep the build cooler. I also want to make a quick mention that drinking a beer while building your computer improves productivity at least 150%. Everything's going well. We got the system all inside the case, and Windows is installed, and now we just got to get all the drivers installed so we can seal the deal. So we're just about wrapped up here, just doing some final cable management where we can. All the drivers are installed, the OS is installed, everything went well. When you say this is probably a pretty solid build?
Sure is.
We're gonna see how it works. I'm gonna get all the Adobe suite installed later tonight or tomorrow, and then I'm gonna throw some 4K video out at it and see what happens. But I'm looking forward to doing all this editing with it, and maybe some gaming too, but like I said, mostly creative stuff. And I want to thank this guy right here for all his help. I could have done it without him, but it would have taken a hell of a lot longer, and I probably would have been scratching my head a lot more. So, John, thanks a lot.
Anytime.
All right, and until next time.